So, I'm just doing a little bit of gameplay so you can kind of get an idea of what this build's all about. And then we will go up to Sanctuary and take a look at what's actually happening to cause all of this to work. It's just one after another. We are in Mayhem 10, and I will show you the modifiers I'm using when I'm going over the build. I just figured a little bit of gameplay might get a little people a little more interested in what's going on here, what things look like. So, now that we've got some gameplay out of the way, let's go ahead and head up to Sanctuary and look at this build in depth. Now, I know the volume's low for the game. I'm still just now starting to mess with OBS Studios and just trying to get a little bit better adjustments and everything on all my settings, but we'll get there. Anyhow, on with the build. So, as I said, Zane, infinite ammo, infinite barrier build. It relies more on the equipment, less on the guns, and a lot on the skill tree. So we'll start with the important stuff. Shield. Shield isn't a specific, you have to have this shield. Though it does kind of help with the ammo regen, it doesn't necessarily break the build to use a different shield. The big thing we're looking for here is the anointment. As long as it is anointed while terrified game ammo regeneration, you're on the right track with that. Next piece that really ties this together is the grenade. Grenade does not matter at all. It can be a blue, it can be a green, as long as it's got the anointment on action, skill, and apply terror to yourself every 3 seconds for 18 seconds. That's one of the big things that just makes this build work. It just adds to your ammo regen and makes it so you don't have to wait and you don't have to constantly run your bloody harvest. Now, if you really like Bloody Harvest, it may not be an issue for you to be running it and getting hit by the ghost. It just adds to your terror and thus far more ammo regen. With the Super Soldier Shield, though, you gain fire rate, ammo regen, and movement speed while your shield is full. Now, being an infinite barrier, very little can actually damage your shield. Occasionally, you will have splash damage that will punch through, and you also have to keep an eye out for those pesky melee fighters. They will run through your barrier and hit you, and they will actually bring your shields down off of full, so you lose some of that fire rate, that helpful ammo regen, and that movement speed. It is, again, not a make or break shield, just make sure the anointment is terrified ammo regen. Moving on to the mod, Seeing Dead, it's so very useful. Try to roll one with weapon mag size, because weapon mag size, the higher the mag, the the faster the ammo will regen. So with a weapon that's got a smaller mag, it takes longer to regen the ammo and can actually make it harder to sustain that infinite ammo. But it is doable. You just gotta be a little more patient and a little smarter with your tactics, your in and out shooting, and just play smart with lower capacity magazines. If you're anywhere above 75 plus in your ammo, you're going to be doing pretty well. Anything above 115, you're hardly going to see your ammo drop. Next, equipment piece is the artifact, the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. You get this from Claptrap in a quest during the Guns, Love, and Tentacles DLC. The only way you can get this to re-roll is you have to play with your saves. If you don't know how to do it, look it up online. There's a lot of videos on how to manipulate your save files to be able to get this. You really, this mod helps so much. This artifact helps so much. You want it to roll mag size, preferably with fire rate. If you don't get fire rate, it's fine. The mag size is the important part here. Um, to be able to get this from Claptrap and get the rolls you want, you grab it. If it doesn't have the rolls you want, you have to restore a backed up save to right before you talk to him and do it again and again until you get this mag size. Fire rate is just a bonus. This build does not lock in any weapons to make it a make or break build. However, the weapons I am running really make this build shine. First one we're going to discuss is the redistributor. Mine has cryo with ASE 2 mags, radiation damage. It is a mobbing weapon that works so very well. There is so very little that is resistant to radiation, and even less, I think, that is resistant to freeze. And being able to freeze an opponent if you know where their head is or their crit spot when they are frozen, getting around to those spots just make this weapon just melt your mobs. If, however, you do come across an enemy that is resisting your cryo or hopefully not radiation, but there again are a few that do resist radiation, however, less than frost. So if you do encounter that and you're having a hard time killing an enemy because you just can't freeze them and they're just being stubborn, we move on to our next weapon, the Smog. This thing has so much kinetic damage. You want to roll kinetic with next to mags for radiation damage. Now, you can roll with different things on this. The radiation, it just helps so much because when you do get those kills, those explosions are nice. If something is resisting radiation, you may want to look elsewhere. You may want to look at something other than radiation damage. There are several other abilities, other modifiers that you can get in place of that. I'm not going to try to remember them. Moving on to our bossing weapon, the Light Show. Yep, I said it, the Light Show. It is a weapon that works extremely well for this build and extremely well on Zane. However, I did come across at one point a flipper. Flippers are very powerful. They're similar to the Light Show. However, they roll with two elements, and you can actually get a next to mag element as well. If I can get one to roll correctly, I'm aiming to get a incendiary, corrosive, and radiation all on one weapon. It's going to be hard, and if I can, it may become my bossing weapon. It may become my primary. I'm not sure. I've been farming for it for a while. I still have not gotten that roll. But until then, if you want to run the Light Show, it's a great weapon. Match the elements. This one, I've got one of each, except I do not have an incendiary on incendiary yet. I've been trying to get one for a while. Can't seem to get it to roll, but I'm not giving up yet. One day I will have it. But until then, shock on shock, corrosive on corrosive, and radiation on incendiary. It still works very well because It's got the same. It doesn't have the damage bonus from radiation that Incendiary has on flesh, but it still does a lot of damage. And it's just a whole nother dot that just piles on to the boss. So it's a viable weapon. Now, fourth slot, any weapon you want. However, on I got lucky. I don't know where I got this. I can't even remember picking it up, but it's a weapon I really want to play with. It literally heals an ally or revives them when they are in fight for your life, and it has a 30-second cooldown. Now, being able to shoot a friendly to heal them, I can see this weapon being usable in many, many situations. Um, with it having a high splash damage radius, this may even be a very viable support weapon for, say, Moe's, who specializes in splash damage. This may actually be a very good support weapon if you want to have Moe's set up with her cub, her purple tree cub, and just hang back, run your splash, or if you just want to have a way to splash um, and have your full mech for situations where you just need to pump out damage, or just on any character. Being able to revive an ally from distance may be a godsend. Not sure. Haven't had a chance to really play around with this, so I'm not real sure how effective it is. But one day I hope to find out. At this point, let's move on to the skill tree. So, we're going to start with Purple Tree. Nothing super special here. It's pretty basic. Now, there is one thing that I will say in this tree that you could possibly flip if you choose, if you really want. All these skills are very mandatory for this build to work. However, these two, Eraser and Sheer Will, these two you can flip if you want. You can put 3 on Sheer Will for action skill cooldown rate to be able to fire your cannon more, or just be able to get that barrier back that much faster, and put the 1 point in Eraser. Or if you are really good at positional awareness and making sure you've got targets lined up behind you, Eraser may be what you want. Oh, sorry about that. Dang. Alright, moving on to the next tree. We're going to look at Blue Tree. Now, going back real quick to Seeing Dead mod. The skills that are on it can be altered slightly. You don't necessarily need a +5. Right now, mine has a +5 violent violence. Now, if you want your higher fire rate, go with a +5 violent violence. If you don't care about that, you can go a +5 on playing dirty. Though it honestly, with playing dirty, you're putting more into that than what you really need to. What I would like to roll is the same stats on this on my Seeing Dead. However, I would like to see it with a +2. I think gets you, if you've got 5 points playing dirty. If you get a +2, you can actually get your extra shot chance up to at least 100%. 75, I really, with as fast as I'm shooting, it's hard to see, but having that 100% chance of getting that extra shot, that's going to be extra damage. It may be a bigger difference, may not sure. I've been running with my +5 on violent violence for a while now. You could these two stats you can do 5 on violent violence and 3 on playing dirty, or 5 and 3, whichever. Or if you want to play with the build just a little bit and get both of these at 5, which I may alter. And there were a few things I noticed earlier on this build that I may just drop and put 2 points here, and I will still have a point that I can distribute elsewhere. Probably put that last point here just to help keep that barrier going a little bit more, a little bit easier. Going from a 12% up to an 18% may make things a little easier on that infinite barrier. But that is blue tree. Moving on to red tree. Red tree, the only actual main skill that you should really need to worry about on this tree is this one. It's going to give you more mag size. This is vital. The bigger the mag, the faster the ammo regen. So this just gives you that little extra ammo in those weapons to just give you that much more. The two skills here that I may drop are these two. Borrowed time, action skill duration. You're recharging your barrier so much. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. As I said, it's a few things that I want to play with in the build, but right now I'm content with how it works. And then the next skill, duct tape mod. Some people really like it. However, with this build, as often as you are firing and not having top mag, not having to reload, so you've got that top mag, I don't see grenades that much. This is the only reason you would need to worry about your actual grenade, but it's one of those that you don't necessarily need. So that is all for red tree. Let's move on to green. Green tree, there's one thing you're really going for here, and that's all arounder. To get there, best bet adrenaline for that action skill cooldown rate. It allows you to get your barrier back up sooner if it does happen to drop. Now, there are situations and there are occasions where there's so much going on when you're fighting with this build that it happens, and getting that barrier back up as fast as possible is just going to keep you alive and keep providing those defenses and keep you going. So the other thing I use for barrier is charged relay. That movement speed and reload speed. Reload speed is helpful. Um, it's if you do happen to hit bottom of the mag and you do have to reload, getting that next mag in quickly is going to be crucial to keeping your barrier going, though you can sustain barrier with Mantis shoulder cannon without too many problems. Adrenaline, brain freeze, they just help keep everything kind of controlled in the fighting. And at this point, that is the main portion of the build. As I said, I would discuss the modifiers that I use for Mayhem Mode 10. I really, really like Galaxy Brain with Holy Crit with this setup. Getting those headshots, no matter what, are just a godsend. And making the critical hits easier because of being larger, and then adding 25% damage to those hits is very useful. Now, the downside is if you're not hitting those crit spots, you're doing 50% less damage. So, if you don't like that, there are other options, but you gotta kind of pick and choose. As far as medium and hard, I prefer Healy Avenger, Drone Ranger. They're very neutral and allow you to just keep going. And plus, every now and then, if you do go down, though it is very rare with this build, it may happen, and if you do, shooting those drones just make getting back to your feet that much quicker, that much easier. So it's just a little something to keep in mind. Again, none of this is set in stone. If you don't even like modifiers, turn that up to 11 and no more modifiers. One thing I have learned that there's controversy, and I'm still trying to work out the actual details, whether it's a broken effect or if it's finally fixed. I'm not sure. I haven't tested it myself, but right now the loot modifier on the Mayhem, from my understanding, it doesn't even work, but if it does, the drop rate in Mayhem 10 only affects your world drop legendaries. So, and that does not tie in with bosses or named enemies. That is world drop, meaning any trash mob, chests, stuff like that. That is your world drop loot pool, and this will help you get that loot. Now, if you go to 11, that actually drops to half. Same with your XP and money gains. I like modifiers to an extent because that money and XP gain. The XP gain really helps when you're trying to farm up to get your super soldier shield, because you need this vault card point, this vault card XP to go up quickly. Every time it levels, you get a box to open. You can get any of these items, or even get a gear piece, a random gear piece. And once you get the gear piece unlocked up here, or you can buy to unlock it for 5 of the purple keys. Right now, I have 1. When you open a box from leveling, there's a chance you'll get 1 key, 3 keys, or any of the items here. These you will not double up on. The items you'll never get a second one, only the gear. So once you've gotten a fair amount of items done, you will start seeing more gear coming in. If you are trying to get Super Soldier Shield to have the Terrified ammo regen, the big thing, you can collect your keys as much as you want, and then just go to the main menu, activate your Bloody Harvest, load back in. You've got all your keys, then start rolling for these Super Soldier shields. And then once you get the shield, or if you just want to keep getting these, go for it. The Guardian Angel is a great shotgun for flak. Moe's can probably use it really well. Don't I don't think I have a Guardian Angel on me, or, well, in my vault, but I have played around with it. It's not a bad shotgun. It works, but either way, I just want to wrap this up at this point. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys remember to hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe I will see you again next time. I'm hoping to have some more content coming up on my YouTube. Um, I just need to play around with some programming. I need to find some good video editors, and we'll see what happens. Thanks again for watching.